Hey, what is up guys, Marcy here, back to do another video, and today I've got a game on Tiberium Rift. This is a pretty sick game, and we're playing as the ZOCOM. My opponent will be playing as the Black Hand. Now, in this particular match, it's a really bad thing for ZOCOM to have to face a lot of bike buggy with tip core, since you don't have railguns on your mammoth tanks or predator tanks, and also confronting Spectre artillery and beam cannons is a problem for obvious reasons, why you don't have any artillery. I did hear multiple times that ZOCOM's air is considered their artillery, but I'd have to disagree, since it's a lot cheaper to counter aircraft than it is to counter juggernauts and Spectres, let's just say. To counter a hammerhead in the late game, all you need to do is upgrade Tiberium core missiles and put an $800 turret down, and the quad turret upgrade along with the Tiberium core will make short work of those hammerheads, especially since Nod factions will pivot into multiple MCV. Against ZOCOM, aircraft is simply a no-go, unless, of course, you go for Firehawks. But the thing about Firehawks is, you don't have hard points as ZOCOM, so it's going to take a lot longer to rebuild your opponent, but you do have the endurance, you have the durability of the ceramic armor, which is very effective versus Grin factions. It can be versus GDI as well, if you can keep the GDI player to tier 1. It's obviously quite beneficial for you as the ZOCOM. You don't have to deal with mass juggernaut. So that's one avenue you can go for as ZOCOM. You can go for Firehawks. Another thing you have to be concerned of is the Tiberium core. Like I said, you don't have railguns. A lot of ZOCOM's units struggle to hit fast-moving targets. Even though that sonic grenade damage of the Zone Raider is amazing against Skrin, it's amazing against certain strategies, it's not against those fast-moving bikes unless your opponent has no micro and leaves them AFK. Anyway, in this particular game, my opponent's going for a flame rush. At this point I was like, hang on. He's got 4 harvesters here. I had a quick scan at my Tiberium field to see how many I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on 5, he's on 4. And I was thinking, shouldn't he be on 3 now if he's going for a flame tank? It seemed a bit odd to me. So I made the conclusion that he's not going for a flame tank. This is a fake out. He's just sold the tier 2 after building it. But I'm not going to take this chance. I actually went for a predator tank here. I think I suspected it'd be a fake out, but I still didn't want to lose the game right away. I'm actually not sure what I'm going to do here. I'm going for an airfield on 2 refineries. I don't remember this part of the game. The game is quite a long game, as you can tell by the duration of this video. Okay, I'm summoning in the Bloodhounds. That's a $3,000 support power. Interestingly, in patch 1.0, that was $2,000 for ZOCOM, the Bloodhound support power. You got the same units. But yeah, $2,000 for 2 veteran pitbulls and 2 veteran APCs. Yes, please. I'm going for 1 singular ZOCOM walker, because I feel like your opponents, when they see Bloodhounds, they can just reverse the harvester around the war factory, around the refinery, and keep it alive long enough before the units on the ground get blown up. But the thing about going for 1 orca is that you can kill that harvester, right? Structures do not affect the targeting of the ZOCOM orcas or regular orcas. I'm going to put some additional damage on those Raider buggies, trying to inflict a little bit more damage onto him. He's going to think I'm all in here since he saw 1 ZOCOM orca and a Bloodhound push. He's probably assuming at this point I'm going for a rig rush, when indeed I'm not. I'm not committing into it fully. I've got a base established here, and as you see, he's went for a rocket reckoner. That's the last thing I expected. But this is going to work out quite well for me, since I already purchased the AP ammo upgrade. Reckoners are pretty weak to gun damage. That harvester almost about to die. I'm not sure if I split these refs far apart to not get double clicked. I think they're just sufficiently spread apart to not lose both to a catalyst missile. But you can see this AP ammo damage doing a lot to the Reckoners. Those are particularly vulnerable to gun damage. That's why in the late game you don't see them too often, since hammerheads against Skrin, the Mechapedes can deal with them very fast. It's really effective just killing them with gun damage. And if you go through the patch notes, you'll also find that I buffed the Dozer Blades of the Reckoners. They get an obscene more amount of health, but that's still not really a unit you see too much in this community patch. Not even in those 4v4 games do we see Reckoners. They're very good when you place them near to a war factory, since the war factory repairs the health. The armor is what makes the Reckoner very tough to kill. MCV has deployed. I was thinking for a moment, should I go for a crane? I do have a tendency nowadays of expanding with a crane. I'm actually going to do that. Okay, so I suppose I am remembering this game better than I expected. Not only cranes are more viable now due to the cost reduction. They were $1,500, now they're a mere $1,300. It's not a lot, but it's going to incentivize more crane use, and I think that's good. Before, we never saw this structure. Another thing we didn't see were the outposts. Outposts move faster in this patch now. Seen MCV moving towards my expansion, I'm like, uh-oh. That can only mean one thing. He's going to multi-MCV me with Obelisk and ZOCOM. Can't really hope to stop that unless they preemptively build up 5 Firehawks to bomb the tier 3 of theirs to prevent the Obelisk. But even without a tier 3, the MCV push is very lethal as Black Hands, since they can drop a lot of Hand of Nods and queue that upgraded man spam, which, as we know, is very, very effective against ZOCOM units. I've only got the one MCV myself, but I did opt for the crane. I'm going to try and camp his expansion field. There is a risk in sending these units up at his expansion field, and that is he can tib vein all of those units. I have these forces assigned to a group, and I'm going to periodically take a look at them. One thing about the Tiber Vein detonation nowadays is that you can avoid it. So if you're quick, you can detect and reverse those units out of the field to avoid taking the full damage of the Tiber Vein. That's an accidental beacon. By the way, I'm going to fix a bug whereby beacons can prevent your opponent from deploying structures. That will be fixed in the next version of 1.02+. Several fixes I'm planning to include. I also want to improve the way that harvesters dock in refineries. I'm unsure if it's possible to improve. At the moment, it's the best it has ever been, but it's not perfect. I'd like to improve it further. I'm going to seek perfection, even though it might not be possible. But yeah, it's worth a go, and it's one of the most important aspects of the game, the consistency of the economy. I don't want there to be any anomalies if I can help it. Any RNG when it comes to harvesting and refineries, I don't want them to be causing disruptions to a player's economy. Anyway, in this game, upon seeing the multi-MCV, I'm going to go into Firehawks. I've built a third airfield to purchase upgrades, since it's going to take me 45 seconds and 30 seconds. It's going to take me a minute 15 to get all the upgrades I need for these Firehawks to be effective. I need both, otherwise I'm not going to get out of there alive. I can't afford to throw away Hawks and go on suicidal bombing runs with them. It's just not possible against Black. I need to be as cost effective as possible. Now, one thing I am doing is preventing him from harvesting on this field. You see, I'm constantly looking at this army here so I don't lose the units to the Tiber Vein detonation. But at this point, I feel like they've paid for themselves. Even though they're not dealing damage, them existing there is preventing him from harvesting the rest of that Tiber field. He was forced to push with an MCV. He's going to deploy an MCV there. But I see the tier 3 has a fence on it, and since the fences are fixed in this community patch, they're not going to be 100% more difficult to destroy. Once those buildings reach 66% health, the fence visually disappears, the buff disappears. That wasn't the case before. The buff would remain on the structure permanently, which meant even if your MCV lost a lot of health, engineers couldn't enter it. So there is advantages and disadvantages to the bug being fixed. The advantages, you can energy repair your MCVs when the fence goes away, and the disadvantage is it has a lot less health. One thing about the sonic repulsion field and laser fencing is that the structure repairs twice as quickly, since effectively it doubles the armor of the structure, not the health. So when you, for every hit point, it's twice the hit points you need to deal the same damage to it. I don't know if that made sense, but you get my gist. Anyway, this is a base push coming in. I was queuing an iron cannon. I was like, yeah, I'm in a good position here. Let's go for an iron cannon. And all of a sudden, a huge Black Ant army spawns out of nowhere. These charged particle beams are raining down hell on my forces. These ZOCOM harvesters are going to be forced to pull back. Only my Marv can stand up to this. I've got ZOCOM Hawks that I can use to bomb his MCV, but obviously if he fences his MCV, 8 Hawks won't do it in one bombing run. That barracks lived long enough for me to queue a commando. That's going to be incredibly helpful in this situation. And just as in my last video, I can put rifleman squads in this Marv for added anti-infantry, but in this case I opted for the sniper team. Now, much like the AP ammo improving the DPS of the Marv, the sniper team received the sniper team hardpoint specifically in the Marv received a buff as well. It has more range. The range on the sniper team hardpoint has been increased, and I believe the rate of fire or something has been also improved. So that's just to offset the fact that the anti-infantry on the Marv is better now. I deem it to be okay, since, as you'll see soon, structures such as these base defenses here and vehicles will cause the Marv to shoot them first before the infantry. Even when the Marv has sniper teams and rifleman squads inside, if the Marv comes across a harvester or a base defense, it will prioritize that before anything else. So the infantry, if you want to kill them with that insane damage, you're going to have to micro, and that is what I feel balances it out. Micro is necessary to get the most from this. Now, as is the case with all epic units, the Marv does have an inherent weakness in that it can be EMP'd and pretty, it can be locked down and destroyed. And the thing about putting these anti-infantry units inside the Marv is that it doesn't have the DPS against vehicles now, so it is pretty weak against the Raider buggies. Raider buggies can be quite a problem for me at this present time. Fortunately though, he doesn't have that, and he's going to try and push. You can see that AP ammo turret on the Marv shooting at the harvester. It's doing what it can. I'm having a little scout here to see where his tier 3 could be, because I don't want him to get a Redeemer out. I don't want him to be dropping multiple obelisks to destroy this Marv. I can see the infantry. Infantry I can deal with. I'm going for sniper teams. I'm queuing sniper teams from many many barracks at once. Not sure what fell there. It must have been the hammerhead that I used for scouting. A sacrificial hammerhead. I need some economy, so moving this Marv into this field to harvest some of it isn't a bad choice. He sees that and he deems it's a good idea to engage, but what he does not see are these stealth sniper teams behind. I've got 5 sniper teams and a commando. There's 2 commandos of his, so it is the battle of the commandos, but if my micro is on point, I can aim his commandos down. One of them was killed, another one is there, and I'm not controlling these Firehawks too well. I was looking to bomb the refinery, not sure if I got it. But yeah, this commando is going to make it out alive for me, and the sniper teams have dealt a lot of damage to his forces. I don't know if this Marv of mine is fully garrisoned. It could be missing a hardpoint, perhaps not. But one thing it is missing currently is the ability to be repaired. That's why I'm queuing a war factory. Not for the war factory repair, but I actually want to queue a rig. I do have a reclamator hub, but I want to get some repairs nearer to the front line. This reclamator hub is too far away. So I'm going to queue a rig here, and I'm going to hope to get some repairs on this Marv. Now, in Vanilla Kane's Wrath, the rig repair was faster to repair the Marv with compared to the War Factory, but ever since 1.2 plus, the repair speed has been normalized, and it's 150 repair per second on everything, just as the War Factories can be, which is good for repairing tier 1 units. They repair faster than but the tier 3 units, of course, will be repairing slower. So the Warp Sphere Reclamator Hub does survive that barrage of obelisks. Up until now, I thought this was it. This is what he had. But he does have a lot of MCVs. 4 obelisks drop at the same time. This Marv, unless these Firehawks can arrive in time to bomb these obelisks, it's going to be falling soon. There's no engineers, like I said, and that Marv's going to die. Sadly for me, I wasn't able to prevent that Marv from dying. I'm floating a lot of resources here. That's why I'm queuing a ton of war factories to queue Shatterers, because I know this is a do or die situation. My only out of this is to build up a critical mass of Shatterers and use the Firehawks to bomb the obelisk before they kill a lot of my shadow tanks. The Shatterers, sadly for me, do get one-shotted by obelisks, and I do have a clutch commando. It's going to kill 2 of the obelisks of light. If not for that commando, I wouldn't have had the opening here to establish some ground forces, since the armies of mine are getting destroyed the moment I build them. He's just camping my war factories. This is going to force me to sell my MCV. I've only got 1 refinery on this expansion, but it's far back there. I'm unsure if you can see that. But yeah, these Firehawks are just flying overhead. I want to keep them on standby just in case he has some obelisks. I can destroy those obelisks quickly. And now I've got some Shatterer tanks out here. Well, Shatterer tanks are really great in this situation, especially the ZOCOM one, since I can use the overload beam, which is going to power down the zone Shatterer for a temporary duration, but it's going to give you that extra powerful shot, which is what I needed in that situation. It spared the lives of 1 or 2 of them, prevented more of those obelisks of light from being spawned. So yeah, I was able to push that back, and I've got sniper teams still from that engagement earlier. The sniper teams have not yet been cleaned up. Sniper team Shatterer, an awesome combo if he decides to go back into infantry once again. At this present time, I'm concerned of a switch to bike buggy. But you know what? 8 Shatterer tanks is pretty hard to dodge. Yes, you can dodge, technically you can dodge Shatterers and Sonic emitters with bike buggy, but when you got so many Shatterer tanks and units to support it, like APCs and press, I got a handful at my base, just watching over my airfield in case I do get hit by something. There's a Sonic emitter back there too, which has killed like 2 obelisks in this game. I'm going to abuse the range advantage that the Shatterers have and force fire the ground here. That's going to make it so just 1 of the Shatterers died. Ideally, I shouldn't have lost anything in that engagement, but it is what it is. I need to push my advantage, and I need to push it now. I'm still in a really bad position. He has been unopposed, taking Tiberium in the south. Sells that Obelisk of Light off, knowing it will be destroyed. And I've got these other 4 Firehawks flying overhead. Remember, this is one of the hardest strategies to combat as a ZOCOM player. Since you don't have any artillery, I am using the Firehawks to great effect, doing what they can. I can even use the Stratofighter boosters to accelerate the bombing run process. Like, they can teleport anywhere on the map, even regions where you don't have the fog revealed. Obelisk of Light going to get targeted down very quickly, but I'm trading 1 Shatterer now for 1 Obelisk, which is really good for me. As long as that continues to be the case, the Shatterers will work. And I'm going to push him off of this field. So for the first time, things are looking up. I'm going to establish a base advantage if I can push him off of this field. He's going to be only down to that 1 base in the south. Technically still controls his main, but there's no Tiberium left on that field. What I should do at this point is bomb the Tiberium spike. One thing I often forget is that the Tiberium spike in this stage of the game is what can mean the difference. It's only a mere $600, but over the course of 20 minutes or so, yeah, you do the math. 20 minutes times 600. That's a lot of resources. Some buggies coming in here to try and harass these Firehawks, but buggies are not tip-core bikes. Even with tip-core bikes here, there's just too much resistance. Those forces weren't ever going to achieve anything. And I've got the combat support airfields deployed on the front line. One little detail that was added in this community patch is that the radar dish animates on top of it. That wasn't even visible in the vanilla version of the game. Redeemer made his way into my expansion. He's going to return the favor and push of me off of my expansion. I am going to imminently lose my tier 2, which I'm going to need to queue these grenade squads, which I need to EMP as Redeemer. I built another armory. I'm researching the EMP grenades as we speak. And these Firehawks are just doing flybys, looking for anything of high value. I need to make use of these because I have nothing really else to go out on the map with currently. These Shatterers aren't particularly mobile. Sadly, in that engagement, I lost 2 of the Firehawks, but not a bad trade since I did limit his ground radius at his main. He no longer has any ground radius there. That refinery was taken out. The sniper teams are taking pot shots at this infantry. That's a lot of infantry though. Usually sniper teams, when you have 5 squads, take out infantry very quickly, but yeah, that is a huge army and it has a Redeemer to support it. If that Redeemer gets a rage gen off on these Shatterers, I'm gonna die. He's absolutely gonna win the game. So my strategy in this game is to simply EMP the Redeemer or force the rage gen out as I did here, and then when I can get this Redeemer locked down, I can use the rest of my forces to keep it locked down and focus the damage on it. Now he did waste his rage generator, which gives the ZOCOM player an opportunity to push in. It's still not easy. The Redeemer is at full health. I need to lock it down. I've got 6 grenade squads. Those are also handy against infantry. Sniper teams I'm going to push back. Redeemer going in for the crush. I use the overload beam on one of the Shatterers. The Firehawks are flying overhead, baiting shots from the rocket squads. The AI will target aircraft over vehicles, so it's pretty handy for them to just sit there and do nothing in this time. Sniper teams need to get back to work on this infantry. Redeemer taking so much damage here. In the end, I decide to bomb the Redeemer. One of the Hawks promotes to Elite. This MCV is pushing in, but the fight's already over. And I've got a bunch of Shatterers here to finish off this construction yard. And those grenades have decent damage against buildings too, so this MCV will fall. That's a lot of damage though from those quad turret shredders. But I think I've done it. I'm also leeching his expansion tip. And I retained 4 Firehawks, so I can still bomb his base. And since I've got veterancy ranks, he can no longer keep his tier 3 alive. I can bomb that even whilst it is fenced. It won't survive those Hawks. So that is going to be GG on Tiberium Rift. I thought that was a really crazy game. Really back and forth. I mean, that was a crazy comeback considering that I was up against 5 MCVs, which typically is what ZOCOM should lose against. This is a very rare game and occasion whereby ZOCOM held it back and I almost lost that game multiple times. He could have done so many things differently in that game, but it's a testament to ZOCOM and just how hard it is for ZOCOM to win that type of game, right? With the lack of artillery. The Firehawks, they can somewhat substitute artillery, but the time it takes for them to reload and get back to the fight, it's sometimes is too late. So yeah guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. I really appreciate that. Before I go, thank you to all my patrons for keeping this going and supporting my channel. I really appreciate you all for the tremendous support. Anyways, this is it from me, Master Leaf, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.